Hello, I'm here today speaking with Lisa Gubbings, Digital Communications Manager at the John Lewis Partnership. We're here to talk to her about the launch of a new intranet, to find out about their approach and what it's meant for the business. Hi Lisa, tell us a bit more about your role.
Yeah, so I look after all of our internal facing communication platforms, so things like our intranet, digital signage, Google+, and our other internal comms platforms.
Tell me a bit about the size of the population here at the John Lewis Partnership and where do people work?
So we have 83,000 partners that are spread across both the John Lewis and Waitrose branches, but we also have a number of unusual locations. So Waitrose has a farm, so we have partners working at a farm. We also have a textile manufacturer. We also have partnership-owned hotels that partners can use, and they're also run by partners. So our population varies from a partner in a branch serving a customer to a greenkeeper on a golf course at one of our hotels.
It's an unusual business in the sense that everyone who works for the John Lewis Partnership owns part of that business. How different is that compared to Sainsburys and how you'd approach audiences there?
So I think that in every business, the employer wants to share its information and share updates and business knowledge with its employees. But at the partnership with co-owners, our partners expect so much more. So they expect a lot of knowledge in a lot of information, but what that does, that presents a challenge with how do you balance that with not bombarding and overloading people with too much. So really the real challenge is finding that balance between making sure that the information is there for those people that want it without forcing too much information down everybody.
What problem were you trying to solve?
The previous intranet was slow, cumbersome. There was an awful lot of information on there, too much. It had become almost the dumping ground for lots of old information that had never really been cleaned. And we also had heard from partners that we had too many channels. So we had channels that were specifically for our John Lewis partners and channels that were specifically for our Waitrose partners, and then another for our group partners. And obviously a lot of the messages that we want to get out as a business and our business updates spread across all of those. And so partners were telling us that they felt a little bit bombarded with information. They were confused as to which channel they had to go to find out which bit of information, which led to either duplication of messaging, which obviously dilutes sometimes the message, or partners missed out on something because it was only put on one of those channels and not on all of them.
When we first spoke, you talked to us about how personalisation of the internet was really important to you and obviously the other partners. Can you tell us a bit more about why that was so important?
Our population is really diverse and sits across a number of locations and also across our two big brands. So we needed to find a way to make sure that we were presenting partners or giving partners the ability to access all of the information. So it's not about restricting, it's about making sure that our partners are really time poor. So when they log on to the internet, they're able to see, if they've only got 5 minutes of their day, they're able to see things that are relevant to them in their role, depending on where they work in the organisation, at a glance, and then having access to the rest of the information if they have more time or are interested. But really it was about making sure that the internet felt relevant for them and gave them a reason to come back.
What was the build and implementation like of the intranet, and how much time did you have to give to it?
So our implementation was very quick. Our old intranet was actually coming to end of life, so we had quite a hard stop in terms of when we had to move over to the new one. So from signing the contract to delivery of the new intranet going live was 4 months, and we had 1 month to migrate content. So it was a very quick process.
Tell us a bit about the strategy for your new channel. What is it?
So really the underlying principle of the new intranet was that if partners want to know something about the business, they had one place to go to find out what they needed to know. So if there were any business updates, that the intranet would be the one place where they would find out what they needed to know as a partner and as a co-owner in our business. So our strategy really has been to migrate as much as possible from other channels onto the internet, and also to stop the other channels so that we don't duplicate that message across.
How long's your intranet has a name, doesn't it? What are you calling it?
It's the partner intranet. Very innovative. It was a decision that we made because the previous intranet was called the partner intranet, and we felt that why change something that's not broken. It was descriptive. It explained to partners what it does, and it just made an already quite quick timescale and quite a demanding project a little bit easier by just letting partners know that the internet was changing rather than it being a new thing.
What have the benefits been to the communications team?
So I think after a few weeks of use, the different comms teams that we had that looked after our different brands, so John Lewis and Waitrose, were able to really see that there was a real benefit in able to target the information. So they quite quickly embraced the new internet and used it to replace some of their old kind of newsletters that were going out very specific to their audience, because they could see that the targeting on the new internet was working, and that it was the way forward.
So one thing we all know the John Lewis partnership is famous for is your fantastic Christmas ads. Did you release that internally first, and what was the reaction like?
So yes, we did. So we launched to partners the day before it went live publicly. We used a combination of the intranet and YouTube, because obviously we are using Google. So previously our intranet was not able to be used for advert launch because the demand is so high that it just put too much pressure on it. But we did that this year. At the time of the partner preview, we'd already done a bit of a teaser campaign running up. So at the time of the preview was due to go live, we already had 1,000 partners sitting on a page, refreshing the page, waiting for the video to go live. And we had, within 12 hours, we had 12,000 partners view the preview, which is quite something.
John Lewis has long been a pioneer in internal communications. In the Gazette, you've got one of the only fully independent newspapers. What's your relationship with the Gazette?
Yeah, so we work really collaboratively with the Gazette. So our intranet actually has 2 sites. So we have our intranet, which is the kind of the content and the information hub and the business updates. And then there's a second site that is for the Gazette. So that's our independent news, our journalists. It's branded completely differently, and it's completely administered and looked after by the Gazette. So they act solely independently, and then we work with them collaboratively to suggest ideas on how we may change, how we can make the content feed better across each other. But really we almost act as just a support for them, and they fully maintain that themselves. And partners know that. Partners really understand the difference between the Gazette and the internet.
The world is changing and technology moves at an even quicker pace. How can you be sure that the tools and features that LumApps offers can meet your needs in the future?
So LumApps is a large business. They have a roadmap that's available for us to see the new features that are coming down the line. They're continually releasing new updates, and through our relationship with our customer success manager at LumApps, we're able to input and influence anything that we think we may need as a business that's not already on their roadmap.
So it's very much a partnership
with
them.